Hi guys, welcome back to Law News Network. We are taking a break from both the Kelly Cochran trial and the Curtis Reeves hearing, and we thought it was a great opportunity to bring in Kathy from Court Chatter because she has been watching especially the Kelly Cochran trial so closely, and she has so many great insights. So we have Kathy here with us by Skype. Hi Kathy.
Hi Heather.
So good to see you and hear from you. So tell me, I know that you've spent the entire morning watching this riveting closing argument, and I want to get your opinion on what do you think, not only of her style, but also of the actual substance of what she's saying.
Riveting? Wouldn't call it that. Well, okay, so the prosecutor's definitely not riveting.
Right.
She read her entire closing. Pet peeve of mine personally, I don't like that. And very monotone, I don't like that. So for me, it was boring. And she just methodically repeated the entire trial.
Right. Which is some lawyers' style. You know, you and I were talking about this a little bit this morning, the fact that she was very good on cross. I think you'll give her that, right?
Yeah. Oh, I loved her cross,
right.
Kelly.
Yeah, so some lawyers are really good on cross-examination and have a harder time getting dramatic and telling stories in closing. Do you think that the evidence that what she's really done, I think you'll agree, is just take witness by witness and talk about what they said?
Yes, well, that's what she did. But here's the thing, for me at least. When you have maybe like a 6-week trial, then you do need to go over everything to remind the jurors, right, because it's been a while.
Right.
But this is a very short case.
Right.
So they don't really need to be reminded of everything they just barely heard. So in my opinion, she needed to hit hard on the important parts that she wanted them to remember, because they're going to go back and they're going to discuss what they, the whole entire case. So this was her opportunity to hit what was most important in her case that she really wanted them, and she just methodically and really just boring just went over and over and over. Now, for some of those jurors, maybe that's what they need. We all know that every person learns differently, right, and so maybe it was okay. I thought it was so boring, but she just read from her paper, yeah, and went over everything. So that's how the closing went. It's over, thank goodness.
Here's a question for you, Kathy. Do you know whether the jurors were able to take notes during this case? Because we can't see them, so I wasn't sure whether or not they were given permission to take notes. Do you know whether they were?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think if the judge ever said just
take out your notebooks. Yeah, I don't think
on your chairs. I don't remember him ever saying that.
And that does make a difference, because if they're not allowed, so let's just back up so that everyone is on the same page. When jurors are allowed to take notes, and it depends on the judge, and it depends on the state, and it depends on the rules. But when jurors are allowed to take notes, they then have those notes to refer to. However, they're not allowed to take notes during the opening or the closing. So to your point, either way, the closing was rather long and rather detailed for this jury to keep in their heads. I think that's one of the complaints that you'd probably have about it, right, Kathy?
Painful. I call it painful. Maybe effective. I don't know. Maybe it was effective. Like I said, I am not the same as a juror, and so maybe some of those jurors needed that reminding. But she went through every single part of the case from the very beginning of Kelly and Chris and Jason's lives to the end. I mean, that's just really what she did, and maybe that's what they needed.
Now, what do you think the defense attorney should do to capitalize on her tone, her style, her presentation?
I'm telling you, if he's smart, he'll get up there with some passion,
yeah,
to wake him up, and hit hard on Jason is the killer.
Yes.
Jason has mental health problems.
Mm-hmm.
He spent time in a psychiatric facility. You heard from the doctors about that.
Right. That
Kelly cared for Chris. That's what he'll hit. If he's smart, that's what he'll hit on.
And then we, as we all know, then the prosecution gets the chance at rebuttal. If you're preparing rebuttal, what's the 1, 2, or 3 things that you would focus on in rebuttal to really drive this case home and leave the jury with?
This is the advantage for the state.
That's right.
The state has the burden, so that's why they get the advantage. That they get to go last. So they get to hear, they get to hold back a little bit, and they get to hear what the defense closing is, and then they get to end. And that's the last thing the jury hears. And so they get to hear what the defense says, and that's when this prosecutor better come out, not read, and say what she wants this jury to go back in that jury room remembering. And it better be that Kelly was not abused and that she was not controlled. That's what she better end with.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think that's got to be the end of this case as the jury goes back, and they're going to get this case today. You know, we'll hear from the defense attorney, we'll get rebuttal, but in general, and it looks like we're actually coming back to the Cochran case, and we're going to hear from the defense attorney right now. Kathy, is it okay with you if we take it back and then maybe get you again later on this afternoon?
Yep, perfect.
Thank you so much. We'll take you back to the Cochran case, and the defense attorney's closing right now.